welcome to another free code session. My name is Jason Bach, and I have this guy here again, who is, what's your name?
Glad to be back. Oh, wait, no, my name is Rocky Lhotka.
your name is Glad to be back.
Yeah, well, you know, it's like my second guest star appearance, and I'm just all excited with Twitter.
Well, hello. Twitter. Glad to... What did I say? State your name? State your name. All right, so I don't know why I'm doing this, because the last time I did this, I think we spent almost the first episode you just like making fun of me in your own special way about how I don't know how to use Git.
Pretty much.
I
suspect you're better now, though.
No, I'm not. I have to read the directions, so that's why I did it all off camera. So we see we have a branch here now, and yeah, that all works. So
you did it off camera. And smart move.
The other thing, I mentioned this on a couple of other videos, is that I did not bring my keyboard, so I have to I'm off to the side here because if I bring up OBS again and I look at that, I can't get too far in because then I'm going to be there, so I got to kind of type with my shoulder that way.
Your camera's centered in the device, but your keyboard has a numeric keypad, so it's off center.
Right, exactly. Even if it was centered, it wouldn't really help that much. I still have to type off centered to do this right. So yeah, it is what it is. I feel stupid because I brought the mouse, but the mouse and the keyboard that I have are all off the same USB thingy, whatever they call them, and I have the thing here, but I was driving toward the airport, and I went, oh crap! Although I don't think I said no. It wasn't on it was on the plane. That's when I realized, and I went, well,
Well, then it's totally too late. Yes,
yeah, completely. Right. Even if it was probably just half mile down from my house, I probably would have turned around because I had enough time. But no, it's you have to play, and it's that's too far. And then it's in the grand
push the assistant button, and hey, can we turn the plane around?
There's this. Is this life threatening? Is it this is really gonna suck, or is it? Well, it's an inconvenience. It was definitely on the inconvenience side. So, and then I forgot not these books here that my mic stand is on, but I had another book that I was going to plan to bring along, but I was reading it the night before and I forgot to put it in my backpack. So I'm about to haul out everything from my backpack on the flight, and I went, darn it.
Oh, is that the word you used?
Oh, totally, exactly. Oh, darn. And I didn't have that book, and I had no books on the flight. So what did I end up watching? Oh, John Wick 3. So I watched that.
Was that good?
It was good.
Because I haven't seen it yet either.
And I knew they were going to do this on the flight, because if they do an R-rated movie on the flight, the scenes where he's literally stabbing somebody in the head or shooting them, the picture just kind of moves just enough so that you don't actually see that. So anyway, all right. So what am I going to do here? I am going to let's get to my directory. Typing like this is quite the adventure. Code projects, CSLA, and then I believe in source there should be a CSLA.analyzer solution, and there is. Okay, and it should already be pointed at the branch I just made. So this one was one that I was thinking of because I was watching you doing your little UnoConf thing or whatever. And it's funny because when I record videos and I edit them or I watch somebody do a talk, sometimes just things trigger in my head and I go, hey, wait a minute, you're doing this. What about that? I think I was watching you do a business rule. And for some reason that either it was asynchronous or I was thinking, yeah, business rules can be async. And then I went, wait a minute, if a business rule is async, don't they have to be, you got to call complete on it or something? And then you told me there's actually a new business rule async type.
Yep.
So that's not the one I'm going to tackle here because that has a code fix. This is just going to tell you that you're wrong. Well, those are simpler. Those are simpler, whatever.
The ones without
easier
code fixes.
Well, because you have to do only half of it.
Sure.
So
okay.
It's only
Makes
half
sense.
the work. So there is a issue in there that I will eventually tackle. This one was just thinking about because I saw the operation attributes and I went, well, wait a minute. When you define an attribute, you can say it can be on a class, it can be on a method, it can be on a property field, and so on. But that's all you get. You can't be any more specific with it. And I thought, well, wait a minute. those attributes, which is actually in the comments here, is that they should only be on methods in a stereotype, and they should only exist on non-public instance methods. And you said that you actually got bit by this already.
I did, because we changed the way the data portal works in CSLA 5 so that it actually ignores public methods, which it didn't used to. It didn't actually used to care about the scope at all.
Okay.
But really, you don't want those methods public, because then they could be abused.
Right.
Right. And so we consciously chose, in fact, I think you were involved in the conversation.
Yep.
Consciously chose to make those only non-public.
Yes.
And, but then I had some old code that I opened up in Visual Studio and it wouldn't work. I'm like, there's a create method. It's like, right? Because you only discover this bug at runtime. Right?
Okay.
Because I hit F5, I'm running the code, and then it says I can't create the object. There's no create method. And so I open the code and I look, and there's a freaking create method right there.
But?
And it took me some time to realize that, oh yeah, it's public, right? And
but see, here's the thing. There is an operation method public analyzer. So there should be an analyzer, unless it's not finding what it should be
finding. It's... it's also possible the analyzers don't run in the test unit tests.
Oh, so this was a type
that you had in the unit test project. That's what it was. Yeah.
You know what this is actually bringing up, though, is this is an interesting case, which is you're using an assembly that has CSLA stuff in it, but that one doesn't. And no, wait a minute, because you're saying the unit test assembly defined like a CSLA type.
Yeah.
And it didn't. So it had to be referencing.
I don't think the analyzers run against the unit test assemblies at all.
But you had CSLA referenced from another project that you were testing, right?
Yes, that's right.
And so I bet you weren't referencing CSLA directly in the unit test project.
Not through the NuGet package. It's
right.
All project references.
Yeah. So I bet that's what's happening, is that project doesn't actually have the analyzers there, so it just goes, well, I'm not going to check it, and then you're right, it doesn't check it for runtime. So I'm saying this is actually another interesting case where...
But it's probably better that they don't, because the unit tests have a whole lot of legacy code on purpose. That
True.
So this was this public non-public data portal method scoping thing is a hard breaking change.
Right.
Right. It's one of the few, actually. Most of our enhancements and changes now, the analyzers have warnings, and we still actually let old code run. But this one's a hard break.
Yeah.
So,
but it's still an interesting thing. Like if I have a package that not even CSLA. Let's say I had a package that I've got analyzers with, and I have that in Project A, and Project B references Project A, but Project B doesn't reference that package.
Right. Yep.
So what this is showing is that then you don't get the analyzers in that Project B. They don't actually run. And so what's the quote-unquote right thing to do? Do you actually then say on Project B, you also have to reference the same exact NuGet package? Because then if you
would that work?
I don't know. I'm not sure. And this is also where I think, I'm not sure, but I think like NUnit and XUnit, I think they do have a separate analyzer package that they reference from like NUnit and XUnit. Whereas in CSLA, it's bundled directly.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That'd be one answer.
So that's one thing you could do is say, well, I don't want to reference CSLA directly, but what I do want to do is reference the CSLA analyzers package from the unit test project or from another project, and just make sure I'm still following the same conventions correctly. So don't have to solve that here, but that is something that, because what you're saying, I'm like, no, we do have something that checks it, but in the case that you ran into, it doesn't run because the analyzers aren't part of that project.
Yep. Yeah.
So something we'll have to think about later over a beer or something. All right, so back to the thing at hand. This is naming is important. So I think I'm going to call it Evaluate Operation Attribute Usage Analyzer, because that's a very small, concise name, isn't it?
Well, it's very accurate. I don't know
Well.
if small is the right word.
Evaluate. What did I call it? Operation attribute usage? Operation attribute usage analyzer. And that looks good. Okay, and then we do some code copying here because the best code is the code that you copy, right? Or something.
Well, it's probably very accurate code.
Which one would be the best one to copy from? I don't actually think that I have an analyzer that is checking for, like we check for attributes, but it always starts by looking, you have a class definition, you have a method definition. We're never looking at the actual, because this is going the other approach. We're looking to see you have an attribute defined. So then we need to say what's the context of the scope of where that attribute is defined. Mm-hmm. So, and we know that attribute that you made, I'm assuming you restricted its attribute usage to just methods. Or do you
It sure should be the case.
Well, we can see. Here's the amazing thing about code is that you can look at it.
Yes.
So, personnel, code projects, CSLA, a source, and then where actually is it? Is it in shared?
Yeah, right.
And then it's
operation, data portal operation attributes. You don't use VS Code?
Nah. So
get with the program, dude. Everybody uses VS Code.
Everybody's using that drug. So it is always targeting a method, which is what I expected. Okay, good. So we know that the thing that it's targeted on is a method definition. All right, so coming back here, though, I guess one's as good as any other one to start with. So at least to get some of this boilerplate in place. See, I'm already screwing up because my key strokes are all different, and it's just it's a mess. It really is. What I should do is just copy all this and do that because then that'll be easier. And then we need and I have to remember to add a markdown file for the documentation. Operation usage, whatever rule. And this. So do I want to have like two cases? Because one should be is that they're only within stereotypes. And then the other one I had is that they should only exist on non-public instance methods. Arguably, you could say there's three. Like I could say if I look at the method and say it's static, that's one incorrect usage.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But the method is non-public, which would be fine. So.
But do you even need to check that it's non-public anymore because now that other rule catches that? So you could just stop it from being static, and then the other rule will fix the fact that the method is public.
That's true. Let me think about that for a second. Is that... Well, I had the rule up, right? That's the one I just made, and that's the one I was copying from. But there is... Oh my god. I am hitting all the wrong keys here. This is awful. This is horrible. There we go. So what was it? Oh yeah, this is the one that I was talking about. So this one says if you have a method and it is in a stereotype and it is a data portal operation, and I know that's been changed to look for the attribute as well because we have to keep doing that for a while, then it just says if it's on an interface it's wrong because that's not correct, and then it looks and says it just looks and says it's public. Yeah, so, but it doesn't look and say it's static.
Right. Yeah, so I suppose you could change this one to check for the static part.
Right.
Too.
Because this one is really just about saying you can't just, we don't want you to be using this attribute just anywhere. The only place that makes sense to have this attribute being used is within the scope of a stereotype. Or you even said an object factory.
Object factory.
Right.
Right.
So those are the only places that make sense for you to actually use this attribute. If you put this attribute in another method, it just doesn't make sense. There's no point in doing that.
It would be ignored.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm actually wondering is, just like what you said, does it actually make sense here to say, hey, wait a minute, well, this analyzer is just looking to say is operation method public,
Mm-hmm.
whereas what it really should probably say is operation method correct analyzer, and actually say
Valid.
yeah,
Yeah.
is valid is probably the right term. Okay, so I'm going to use cuneiform tablet here and say
Oh, no, that's old-fashioned.
It
For the
is.
off camera, for those that can't see, which would be everybody,
yes.
he's actually using. Is that
Well,
a pencil? That's
it
a
is-
pencil.
it is a pencil.
Oh
It
my
really
God!
is.
On
So-
like a sheet of paper.
I know. It's one of these things that people just don't is method.
Are you using cursive too?
I do a combination. And sometimes I get on my older son or my kids because they can't write very well. But in all honesty, I'm like, I write so infrequently these days that when I've been trying to just do it for notes here,
Mm-hmm.
I'm horrible. I'm really bad.
I've gotten, and when I was in college and university, I was very good because I took notes all the time.
And now it's like,
Yep.
so this should be public.
You know what I find is interesting is that I nowadays do a lot of my note taking using the stylus in OneNote.
Right. Yep.
And OneNote's ability to understand my handwriting is usually better than my ability to understand my handwriting.
Yeah, and your handwriting sucks.
It does. It is horrible.
I mean, I'm not saying mine's good, but you're on stage and you start bringing that out, and I'm almost like internally eye rolling. I'm like, just stop, because nobody's going to be able to read anything that you're saying. You're using here because it's like that looks like a letter. So that's actually a point I will make, is to change this so that it actually will look for both being non-public and being static, because that's actually right here is where this should be. This is all this is saying is this one is that the declaration or its usage should only be within those two. So that actually makes this a little bit better-ish. All right, so let's just keep going. Because I need to, oh yeah, that's right, I gotta do that. And we need a thing here. Does operation have attribute? Is operation attribute usage correct? And that becomes 15. And yeah, I don't know if you saw the video that I did this, but they actually added an analyzer for analyzers.
Oh, nice.
And so they can actually detect, did you pass in an ID to a descriptor that you've already used? Because that's wrong. You shouldn't do that.
Oh, because you'd have two rules with the same descriptor. Yep.
Yep. So, yeah. They're the same ID, and that's probably not what you meant. So, all right, why is it still... There it goes. Took a second. Okay, so... Oh, God, now I need to put constants here. What's this like? Oh, that's right, because I need... Where did I put this? Evaluate operation usage at. Yeah. That actually needs to be...
Oh, we should have an item to move these English text stuff into resource files so they can be localized.
We could. That's very true. You can go make a note of that.
I don't have any paper or pencils.
Find operation attributes.
Just saying, the rest of the CSLA is all localized, and now here we're like...
Well, you know what's funny, though? Because this actually runs in the context of Visual Studio, I'm not saying it's wrong. In fact, you probably can do it. I just don't know how the resource files would work when you're in Visual Studio, but it should probably detect, well, you're in this culture, so load these, It's,
yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah.
In my mind, I'm sitting here thinking, well, of course it would just work, but yeah, maybe not.
So I want to grab this, that, and then operation attributes only list within stereotypes, or what's that called again? Object factory.
Object factory. Did you mean with or within?
Within, whatever. Okay, and then we don't have a code fix for this, so that goes away. So we come back here, and then I need to grab this and put that there. No, put that there. This would go so much faster if I could actually, turn the right way. And then this identifier needs to be there, and then we need the type name there. And then that can go away. And see, I'm actually. Why did that suddenly
make this one wrong? Yeah. Plus, that analyzer is just running slow, and
it's not an analyzer. It's did I bet
you changed the wrong one.
Yeah. Evaluate operation. Yeah. This is the one that needed that. Okay, I was being stupid. I'm going to watch this later and go, you moron. What were you doing? So that it's an easy fix. I just need to
use Control Z a little bit.
Yeah, unfortunately though, I also did something really stupid. I deleted the code fix thing here that was here. So you know what?
Yeah, but Control Z will bring it back. Yes.
But then I have to wind it up. Well.
But copy paste.
Yeah,
these
yeah.
three lines.
Yep, I know. So we'll do. No, not that. This.
Yep.
That goes over here in that one, because this is a public static class like that. And then this one, I just rewind. In fact, all the way to where it was before. And then that's
worst case is you have source control. Git would have saved your ass.
Yeah, I could have just undid the changes, and that's what I was about to do before you said that. Okay, so that's good now. Those are good now.
I used language. Sorry.
You did?
Well, just ass.
That's okay.
Just checking.
I've tried to keep this PG, so you can occasionally get, you can let those go as
Did you go look up the rules for language and nudity and violence and stuff?
There's not going to be any nudity on this. I can guarantee you. If there is, I'm gonna just that's just. But
I noticed you didn't exclude violence. That makes me worried
true.
now.
That's true.
It's like okay.
Let's see. Analyze method declaration. Let's call this ed. Analyze attribute. Okay, just go to attribute declaration. And that's what this is, except what I think I want is a syntax kind of attribute. No. What I want is, if I go to my visualizer, what is this actually? This is, it's an attribute list. Yeah. And then the attribute has, because you can put in here, if I so desired, I could say system.serialize. No. Why did? Huh. That's interesting. I thought it would have, I could say it. I just want to throw an attribute up in there. So if it's in a list, but then each one is defined. If you can see the highlighting as I'm moving between these attributes, they're moving from one to the other. Mm-hmm. Because you can define it that way. Each time you put it in the things, the brackets, that is an attribute list, and then you can have one or more of them in there. So what I'm getting at is what I want to find is the attribute syntax. So I think if I come back here, I don't want the list. I want just the attribute itself, the syntax kind. So you're probably just going, I have no idea what you just said.
I have no idea what you just said. Is it going to automatically call that method on every attribute?
Yes.
Then? Is that the...
Yep, and that's what you want.
Yeah, of course.
So
it's kind of like awk.
See, now you just threw something at me that I have no idea what you just said. Attribute. what was it? Attribute syntax? That's what that was, right? So if I go... yeah. See, this is where sometimes syntax visualizer, I can't even talk. It's broken. If you have like broken code, it just doesn't even show. Sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. So it is an attribute syntax. That is what I wanted. Yep. Okay. So that's good. Then what I want is, this is not a method node. This is a attribute node. And then, that could get me, I don't want the, let's do this, attributes. Because what I really want is the declaring, I want the method that it's declared on. If I can just get that, work, the other way. I wonder if I can say this. Get the as I. Is there like a? There is not. So, what do I do here? This is where I get the method, and then. Well, that's the public one. That's not what I want. I want containing type. That's the other way. I have the method and I get the attributes. I want the attribute and I want the method that it's on. And I'm not sure. This is maybe we're going to stop and go for dinner. Because I don't know off the top of my head, and just typing this is going to be really awkward. But see if I can. This is where, again, analyzers is like you spend, for at least for me, all this time trying to go, how do I actually get to the thing I need to do? But once you do it, it's like 3 to 5 lines of code. Sure. Yep. It's just hard because I don't do this every day to know what is the right way to go get the method that this is declared on. So what I might be able to do is say, yeah, that's actually probably, now that I thought about it, because I can make an assumption here. So if I go back up here and I say syntax visualizer on this, well, now I have, I've got bad code here. So let's do that. And if I come back up here, this attribute has up its ancestor nodes is a class declaration. So I can do the same thing here, not even go down the semantic model for the attribute syntax yet. Just say on the attribute node ancestors. And I think you can say, I know descendant nodes, there's like a descendant nodes thing here. And you can say descendant to children, so you can just keep saying go, 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 go. It will descend all the way through. There's child nodes that just gives you literally the child nodes off of that node. Descendant nodes will give you all the descendant nodes unless you can pass in a func to basically say, given this node that I find, do you really want to report that back?
So like a filter of some sort.
Yeah. Yep. But with ascendant, there's no there's a parent, but there's a find parent. I think that's an extension method that I made. Yeah, I did. Syntax no extension. So I can actually pass in, that's perfect. That's perfect.
It's like you solved this problem before.
So I can just basically say a method declaration, syntax, and then from there I can get the declared symbol format. I've done that before, and then look to see, is it, what stereotype is it on and all that other stuff, because I have code that already does that. So that's perfect because we're almost at 30 minutes, which is a good stopping point. So I'm not going to finish this now, but I now know how to solve it. I think I've got a good way on how to solve this. So so we're going to stop now because I need food. I don't know about you, but I need food.
Food's always good.
So, all right. So I'm going to stop there. Thank you for joining me. Thank you all joining for me. Leave comments and questions below. See you in the next episode.